Good morning, everyone. I finally know where I stand financially. I had my last paycheck come in, which was the final paycheck from the Christmas season of doing deliveries. It ended up being a lot less because there was a lot of overlap between the Christmas season and the snowstorm, and there was a day I didn't work in there, and because of all the holidays and everything, it ended up actually being 2 days short of my normal work week for that time of year. But that's okay. I'm actually just about where I need to be anyways to actually go somewhere. I think I'll wait for next paycheck before I actually head out, which is fine because I still have to wait for Vroom to come pick up my car. All the paperwork is done. As far as I know, all that needs to happen is they need to arrange for the transporter to come pick up the car. In the meantime, I'm just basically at work. I was actually called in to work an extra day this week, so that would have made it a 6-day week, but I think they forgot, and I didn't notice either, that we're not normally allowed to pick up that much overtime during normal times of the year. We are during Christmas, of course, but the volume of packages has slowed down a lot. But they called me in because someone didn't show up for work and they just needed someone really quick, and I happened to be there. So what ended up happening was I did that. I was expecting a 6-day work week, which would have made up for last week where there was all the snow. But instead what happened was I spent the night over at a state park because that's basically the only place to stay around here right now. And then once I showed up at work again that evening, I got a message saying, hey, by the way, we can't actually have you working that many days, so we're gonna cancel your shift tomorrow. So I'm just stuck in the parking lot at work basically. There's nowhere to go except state parks at the moment, and I don't really want to pay for that. And everything I'm gonna do today is just on the inside of the bus. My organization system has been slowly breaking down since I was working, 50 to 60 hour weeks. And the bus is a bit of a mess. I cleaned up most of it actually when I was at the state park. I emptied out the toilet, got all my water refilled and all that kind of stuff, so I'm all set up there, all the basics are there, but things like my cable to connect my camera to my iPad so I can upload footage, that has just disappeared. When I was transferring files for the last video just a couple of days ago, it took me about 4 hours transferring it over my camera's Wi-Fi connection. It's one of the downsides of my camera. It has super slow transfer speeds over wireless, so you really need that cable to get files transferred in a reasonable amount of time. So yeah, after 4 hours of transferring files, I decided I needed to go find another solution. So when things start disappearing like this, it usually means that it's time for me to go around and just completely reorganize the bus. I find that, every month or two, I just have to go and take everything off every shelf and put it back again and make sure that I actually know where everything is. Part of that is just things tend to move around a little bit when I'm driving, of course, and so things aren't always exactly where I left them, and so they just tend to kind of slowly migrate around the bus. And part of it is I just forget where things are stored, and so I just don't know where they are anymore. So that's what I'm going to spend today doing, since I have an unexpected day off anyways. I'm just going to go through every corner of this bus and make sure I know where everything is, make sure everything is nice and clean. Okay, so I actually just got an email with really good news. So it sounds like my car is going to be picked up sometime in the next 10 days. So I don't know exactly when. Apparently someone's going to contact me within the next 2 days to set up a time to pick up the car. So hopefully that goes well. In the meantime, I have this all to clean up. Not too bad, but this giant pile of cables definitely needs to be organized. Alright, so the dashboard is nice and clean now. It's all cleaned off. I also cleaned off the door panel. Also notice, there's no snow out there. I found this socket that I just bought. It's a 13/16 inch socket, and in theory that should go to the bolts. At least that's what I was reading online. Everyone was using 13/16 inch sockets. So I just took it outside, and I'm glad I did because this doesn't fit the lug nuts on this bus. I need a 7/8, I believe. Probably should have taken my calipers out and measured it the first time. I just looked up what the standard size was, and this was the standard size, but apparently I have 7/8 lug nuts instead of 13/16. So I'll just have to get something different. So over here I've sorted these cables. So these are all the different sizes. These are actually all the same type of cable. So I think I'm going to take those and put them in this door panel. I was keeping a lot of soap and other stuff in there, but I've kind of stopped doing that. A lot of those things have moved to other parts of the bus. So I think my cables are going to end up down there. That way I don't lose them as easily. Okay, so I went through and looked at everything that's down in that hole, and it looks like everything that's down there is supposed to be there. Hasn't really moved since last time. It's mostly just like emergency supplies. I have a battery charger down there. It's a couple little odds and ends that came with the bus, and I just don't have anywhere to put them. Some of the paint that was used to paint the bus is down there. I actually thought that there was going to be a lot more stuff down in there that I was going to have to rearrange, because things can actually fall down underneath the countertop down into that hole. But it doesn't look like anything did this time, so that's really good news. So I'm just going to put all this back together, and I'm glad I got those cables sorted out. Then I can just finish cleaning the rest of the front of the bus here. This is my dash mount for my camera that I was trying to use. This suction cup is just absolutely terrible. You can get adhesives for it, but I can't really stick it where I need it to go. And the whole thing is just bad when you try to use it. So I went on to Amazon and I found a new one, which hopefully should do any better. It seems like a lot of the reviews for these things are really mixed. The one I ordered looks like it has decent reviews, so that should replace this thing, and I think this is just going to go in the garbage because I don't know what else to do with it. The other thing I took off of the dashboard, so this is the dash mount for a backup camera. So I do have a backup camera on the bus, but it's not completely installed. I would have to relocate the camera itself on the back of the bus somewhere else because my license plate is offset and hiding behind my storage box. So I need to find a different solution to this, but really, I haven't found that I really needed it in this bus. The only places that I really park where I need to back up are things like campgrounds, and I have plenty of opportunity where I can just get out and look. So I had it mounted about here before, and what I'd like to do is put the camera mount right there instead, and that way it won't take up too much space. It won't obstruct my view out the windshield or anything. So I think that's where my new camera mount's going to go. Okay, so the front of the bus here is done. It's looking all in order. Didn't find too many surprises here, but definitely got things a lot more organized. Alright, so need to clean out that top shelf. It's actually decently organized now, even though it looks like a mess. Okay, so I pretty much have this shelf done. There are a few things that'll probably go back up there, like oven mitts. Not that I have an oven yet. Also have things like these cool mesh grocery bags that need to go in that area. That shelf is basically done. But I want to get this area up here cleaned off. So I know I'm missing the cable to recharge my hair clippers. I think it's up there somewhere, but I'm not really sure. So we're going to go digging around up there and get that all cleaned out. I don't usually use much of anything in this corner of the bus. It's all stuff that I rarely use, except for I used to keep my hats and gloves there, but those have since migrated elsewhere. So it's good to pull all this stuff down and just see what's up here now. There's got to be somewhere better to store paper towels. More hats, my new socks. This is the problem, I don't remember my organization system half the time, and so I put things like my socks over there, but my socks don't go over there, my socks go on the other side of the bus. One of these days I'll actually come up with a consistent organization system and remember it, but, you know, I mean, you can't be without some wind-up sushi. So this is my Coleman stove that came with the bus here, and I considered using it, but I thought I'd give it an inspection first just to make sure that it's actually usable, and it's not. The fuel lines have holes in them, and it looks like someone tried to patch it up with something. It looks like some sort of silicone product. I don't know what it is, but definitely not safe to use, and it would just cause a massive propane leak if I tried. So I don't know what to do with this. Probably give it away. Maybe there's a sheet metal dealer, some scrap dealer that'll want it. I don't know, but I can't use it. And it's taking up a lot of space in my bus too. So one of the stranger things I probably have on board the bus are these stage lights. So I actually got these because I used to perform all the time, and I was wanting to see if I could perform at a little bit more unconventional locations. So that's one of the problems with pianos is your location basically has to have a concert grand that's in decent tune, and depending on what I'm playing, it has to be a pretty decent one at that. And so my thought was I would take these stage lights and my digital piano, and I could take that out to whatever location I wanted and then perform there. Of course, performances basically got shut down, and I haven't actually tried to do that since I bought all this stuff. So I don't know. I I might try again at some point, but I don't see that happening anytime soon just because there's too many restrictions on performances right now. I am completely set up for it though, so at some point when things open up again, I can take my piano out to wherever and put on a show. It's a little disappointing I didn't find the cable for my hair clippers, so I guess I'll keep going. Just completely unload this thing, and then I'll start loading it back up. I'll probably do the next level down the countertop of my bed. Okay, so there is a fairly empty shelf. It's just my tent, life jacket, project, and then of course my bowl, which is catching the water that's dripping out of that light fixture. And down here is the gigantic mess that I made. So I'll start cleaning all this up and putting stuff back up on the shelf. I want everything to be nice and neat and organized this time. I'm going to set a few things aside that I'm probably going to just take up to the storage unit next time I'm up there, which is probably whenever they come to pick up my car. Well, I just received really good news. My car is scheduled to be picked up just a little bit less than a week from the filming of this video, so who knows when this video is going out, but that means it's going to be very soon. And now that I have that date nailed down, I'm going to know basically how much my next paycheck is. I know when that's going to be deposited, so I know more or less when I can actually take off. So this evening I'll probably sit down with the calendar and see when I can request days off. Usually they ask for a week or two notice if I'm going to request days off, although it can be a little bit less this time of year just because the volumes of packages are pretty low, so it's pretty easy to cover my shift if I'm not here. So anyways, back to cleaning. Okay, so the countertop is completely cleared off, well, except for my Windex. Up here, everything is all neat and organized again. Hopefully it stays that way this time. And also above the bed there, that shelf, looking all neat. So the good news is that all looks good. The bad news is, unfortunately, I haven't found anything that I'm looking for yet. But I still have plenty of bust to cover. Okay, the bed's all clear. Nothing there. Let's see, I put all the bedding on the table. Everything else just ended up on the floor down there. I'm trying to keep places that I've already cleaned off clean. I had to put the bedding up here, but, you know, that stuff can go on the floor for now. Okay, so the bed area is all cleared out now. So that looks a lot better. This area next to the piano is all cleared out. You know, I think everyone needs to have their suit in their van. Always a good thing for van life. So back under there, that shelf, I think that's probably where all my cables ended up, because I can't find them anywhere else, and that's probably the last place where they are likely to be. So I'll get that cleaned out today. It's starting to get late, so I don't know if I'm going to have time to clean out that bottom shelf. I don't think there's a lot down there, but we'll definitely get that shelf cleaned out. Well, I've gone through the entire bus, cleaned everything up, and as far as I can tell, the two cables that I was looking for are just gone. I don't know where they went. So I'm going to order a couple more. I suppose it's probably a good idea to have spares around anyways, in case those other turns up. Cables do break periodically, so I should probably have an extra one. And I also noticed earlier this afternoon that one of my lights is missing. I don't know where it is. I have 4 lights. So I have the one over the bed there. I have the one that's on there next to the emergency exit. There's one on the other side of the emergency exit. And then there's one in front of the curtain. Those are just magnetic strips where the light's attached. And I only have one light on the charger. It's not a huge deal since I move the lights around all the time and they're constantly going through circulation and recharging and stuff. But it is a little bit weird that things are disappearing. Something's gone wrong with my organization here. But anyways, I think I'm done cleaning for the day. I still have to do some accounting this evening, figure out exactly how much money I'm going to have by the end of the month. And that will decide when and where I can go. So I've been sitting here with my iPad, crunching the numbers, trying to figure out exactly when I can take a vacation or take some time off or something. So I just got paid this week, and so my next opportunity to get paid would be in 2 weeks. So that means that my next opportunity to leave would be on January 21st. So I did the math on that, and I did a bunch of different scenarios. And it looks like I could go a total of maybe like 300 miles at the most if I did that. So that could get me somewhere, but if I take a entire week off, take 5 days off, I'm working a 5-day week, so 50-hour week, then that would give me those 5 days plus the 2 weekends, so that would be 9 days total. And so 300 miles in 9 days, I mean, that could get me somewhere. So I don't know. I haven't decided whether that's really a good idea or not. Because the alternative is if I wait a little bit longer until February 4th, which would be 2 paychecks from now, so that would be 4 weeks away, then I could go about 5,000 miles. And so that would give me basically the opportunity to go wherever I want without really having to worry too much about anything, really. And I'd have more money in reserve, honestly. Or I could just use some of that money to pay off some debt. That would work as well. So, assuming that everything stays exactly the way it is right now, it would make 100% more sense if I took off on February 4th. Although, now that I think about it, because my way my work schedule works, so I would actually leave on February 2nd, and I could take off then. Although, now that I'm looking at my calendar even closer and thinking about this is a slow time of year, so honestly, I could probably even get away with leaving on February 1st. It would be half a day to get somewhere out of this area, so that would be even a little bit more time on the road. That's only 3.5 weeks away, so that's sounding better all the time.